An old photograph, a mysterious pocket watch, and a love that transcends time. Can love conquer both distance and fate? Today, join Romantic Love Stories as we explore the film Somewhere in Time, where two hearts belong together despite being separated by nearly a century. In 1972, Richard, a young theater student, was celebrating the success of his first play when a mysterious woman appeared. She placed an old pocket watch in his hand and whispered, "Come back to me." A brief encounter, yet it set in motion a journey through space and time. 8 years later, Richard, now a successful but weary playwright, decides to take a break at the Grand Hotel. While exploring the hotel's museum, he is captivated by an old photograph of a beautiful woman. A strange sense of familiarity creeps into his mind, as if he has known her for a long time. Richard begins investigating the woman in the photograph and discovers that she is Elise McKenna, a famous actress from the early 20th century. But the most shocking revelation of all, Elise is the very same woman who had given him the pocket watch years ago. And that very night, she passed away. Obsessed with the idea of meeting Elise, Richard delves into the concept of time travel and learns that it can be achieved through self-hypnosis. He removes all traces of the present, dons attire from the year 1912, and focuses his mind on a single thought: I am in the past. At last, he drifts into sleep and wakes up in another era. Now it is the year 1912. Richard wanders through the Grand Hotel, searching for Elise. Then, as if led by fate, he sees her strolling by the lake. The moment their eyes meet, Elise freezes for a brief second. "Is it you?" she wonders silently. But just then her manager appears, pulling her away, separating them once more. Richard refuses to give up. He continues to approach Elise, and at last, she agrees to spend time with him. They row across the lake, talk about life, dreams, and aspirations. Elise finds herself drawn to this mysterious man, someone who seems to know everything about her, yet remains an enigma. Between them, a quiet, tender love begins to blossom. That evening, Elise performs on stage. But in the middle of the play, she suddenly pauses, her eyes searching the audience, until they find Richard. In that fleeting moment, she pours her entire soul into him. As the camera captures this scene, we realize this is the very photograph that Richard will discover 68 years later. But happiness is fleeting. Elise's manager, Robinson, fears that Richard will ruin her career. Deceptively, he traps Richard in a storage room, locking him away for the entire night. Meanwhile, Elise waits for him in despair, her heart weighed down by an overwhelming sense of unease. The next morning, Richard finally escapes, but it's too late. Elise's theater troupe has already departed. Just as he is about to lose all hope, Elise unexpectedly returns. They embrace tightly, vowing never to part again. But then, in a fleeting moment, Richard accidentally touches a modern-day coin. In an instant, the illusion shatters. Time mercilessly pulls him back to 1980, leaving Elise behind, crying in utter despair. Richard wakes up in the present, but his soul is shattered. Desperately, he tries to return to 1912, but no matter how hard he tries, he fails. Day by day, he sinks deeper into sorrow and despair, neglecting food, ignoring the world, only sitting in the places where Elise once existed. Until, at last, his body weakens, his mind drifts away from reality. In his final moments, Richard sees a radiant light. A gentle smile forms on his lips as he drifts into an endless, weightless space. And there, waiting for him, is Elise. She reaches out, takes his hand. At last, they are reunited, forever. If you believe in the power of eternal love, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Romantic Love Stories for more timeless tales of love.